Unity of Mesa. I serve along with Reverend Nickie Golden, who's giving the lesson today. We have on piano for the first time Chunya Pien. It's very exciting. Chunya is a second-year doctoral student at ASU, and she's amazing in every respect. You ought to hear her play her classical pieces. They'll blow your hair back, amazing. And after service, she's looking for a ride back to Tempe, just in case you happen to be going that way. Get to know Chunya a little bit better. We also have joining us for the second time, Kyle Larsen as our vocalist. We're very happy to have you back. Tamara Stevens was our board member of the day, and I want to introduce you to someone who is incredibly special in my life, and that is my son Chris, who is visiting from Honolulu. We together welcome you into spiritual community, welcome you into that experience, that sacred space that you've been waiting for your whole life. Did you know that? But you have definitely been waiting for it in this moment. And so in that sacred experience, I invite you to enter into a time that we call prayer, affirming that there is only one presence and one power, active in the universe and in our lives, God, the good, omnipotence. Regardless of what is gone on outside of these walls or outside of this visual experience watching online, regardless of that, we know that we are at home in our own divinity. We are at home in God. And in this oneness, we say thank you. Thank you for with God, as God, all things are possible. So it is, so we let it be. Amen. Reverend Nickie and I have a couple of announcements, starting with a class that's coming up that I am facilitating. It's called Uncomfortable Conversations with a Black Man. It's based on the work of Emmanuel Acho, who started with some podcast videos and now has turned it into a book. It's a facilitated discussion. We get together and learn how it is okay to be uncomfortable, because it is in that place of uncomfortability that we can be vulnerable and we can open up and we can learn new things. That's for 6 Saturdays starting February 4th.
And also on February 4th, we have an intergenerational event with the children who are learning to knit and the adults who may also be learning to knit that are supporting the children who are learning to knit. So there's a lot of knit 1, purl 2, and if you crochet, they will let you in.
You were an equal opportunity spiritual community. The other thing we want to let you know or remind you of is that we have a Sangha every Tuesday at 10 a.m. And that Sangha is on Zoom. So you go to our website, click on the What's Happening tab, go to Classes tab, and you can sign up for information and you will receive a link to attend that Sangha. The conversations are rich, they are delicious, they are stimulating, they are edifying, and they open up a space to go deeper together. So if that's something that interests you, that's Tuesdays at 10 a.m.
Yes.
All right, we invite you to stand now as you are able. We are going to sing I Am as God Created Me.
I am as God created me, in the light, in the love, in the glory. I am as God created me, in the light, in the love, in the glory. In the light, in the love, in the glory. In the light, in the love, in the glory. In the light, in the love, in the glory, I am. In the light, in the love, and the glory. In the light, in the love, and the glory. In the light, in the love, and the glory. I am as God created me, in the light, in the love, in the glory. I am as God created me, in the light, in the love, in the glory. In the light, in the love, in the glory. In the light, in the love, in the glory. In the light, in the love, in the glory. I am. In the light, in the love, in the glory. In the light, in the love, in the glory. In the light, in the love, in the glory. I
I'm
am.
going to invite you to turn and find someone. I'll be watching you guys online, but if you find someone who's here in community with you, turn and sing to them and let them know that you have been created as God created you. Are you ready? Here we go.
I am as God created me, in the light, in the love, in the glory. I am as God created me, in the light, in the love, in the glory. In the light, in the love, in the glory. In the light, in the love, in the glory. In the light, in the love, in the glory. I am. In the love and the glory. In the light, in the love, and the glory. In the light, in the love, in the glory. I am.
Right there. Thank you so much for your second hand. Thank you to the people who held eye contact. There's a lot to be said. Coming on up is Miss Julie and Katie Slides. Oh my, oh my. Here we go.
Good to be here, everyone. And Katie is going to lead us in our affirmation. If we could have the words up on the screen.
Positive thoughts lead to abundant living. Say it with me. Positive thoughts lead to abundant living.
All right, before our children exit for their class, let's give them their blessing.
Children, we love you, we bless you, we appreciate you, and we behold the Christ you are. A few words from that ancient Christian mystic, Meister Eckhart. All beings are words of God. It's music. It's art. Sacred books we are for the infinite camps in our souls. Every act reveals God and explains its being. I know that may be hard to comprehend. All creatures are doing their best to help God in its birth of itself. Enough talk for the night. It is laboring in me. I need to be silent for a while. Worlds are forming in my heart.
A world of pure imagination. Take a look and you'll see into your imagination. We'll begin with a spin, traveling in a world of my creation. What you'll see will defy explanation. If you want to view paradise, simply look around and view it. Anything you want to do it. Want to change the world, there's nothing to it. There is no life I know to compare with pure imagination. Living here, you'll be free if you truly wish to be. If you want to view paradise, simply look around and view it. Anything you want to do it. Wanna change the world, there's nothing to it. There is no life I know to compare with pure imagination. Living there, you'll be free if you truly wish to be.
Kyle Larsen and Chunya Pien. We're talking about creativity today, which takes both faith and imagination. Faith, the evidence of those things that we cannot see, and then imagination. Let's take a moment and practice our creativity. What's your favorite place? Just imagine it in this moment. Close your eyes and allow yourself to be there for just a few moments. What does it feel like? What does it look like? What does it smell like? How can you allow that imagination of yours to expand and intensify this favorite place that you're in? It's a practice. It's a skill that sometimes as adults we have given up. And now, in your imagination, find a way, a very creative way to be back in this room in a way that you've never considered before. Pop yourself back here in a new form of transportation. I think I'm going to come in riding on a camel. I've never done that before, so it's pure imagination to consider doing it. What's the way that you came back to this room?
I flew in.
You flew in. What'd you fly on?
Wings.
Woo, your own? Oh, beautiful. Yeah.
Helicopter.
All right, helicopter.
A giant bubble.
A giant bubble. What else? A Segway? Oh, how cool. Those are fun. I did that in Savannah, Georgia one time. That was really fun. Yeah. I'm sorry? Yeah, I missed it. I'm still. A cloud. Beautiful. So we are already practicing our inner creativity. We are creators. We don't always think about being creators and being creative as going together. How many of you, and I'm not going to ask you to raise your hand, and you don't have to look from side to side if you don't want to. How many of you think about yourself as not being creative? Yeah, some of us do, some of us don't. Some of it has to do with how we see creativity, but we were made as creation. Therefore, we are creative. I'll show you this. It comes from Genesis, and I know that many of us have heard it before. It's quoted quite often. First, this. This is from the Message. God created the heavens and the earth, all you see and all you don't see. Does that sound like faith? There is faith right there in the very first chapter, in the very first book, in the very first verse. Things that you see and things you don't see. Earth was a soup of nothingness. This is where your bird is really going to come in handy. Earth was a soup of nothingness, a bottomless emptiness, an inky blackness. Does that bring forth images in your mind? That's your imagination. It may look different for each and every one of us, but that's our imagination. That soup of nothingness, a bottomless emptiness, an inky blackness. God's Spirit brooded like a bird above the watery abyss. Can you imagine that? Brooding above the watery abyss, a bird flying. And think about how your bird looks. Mine has really long wings. It's probably an ocean bird because that's my favorite kind of bird. So it has long wings and it's just hovering along the water. But your bird is probably going to be different because you're a unique expression of God. So your creativity is going to be unique to you, and yet it's yours. Are you willing to own it today? Yes. Are you willing to own it today? Yes. All right. Yes, I believe that one. Yeah, so we're going to be looking at that. But I really want you to believe God created the heavens and the earth, all that is seen and all that you don't see. So look around this room. There's a lot to be seen. There's some beautiful people to be seen. And I wonder, and let your imagination begin to wonder, what is it that's in here that we're not seeing? I know one thing that we're seeing the evidence of, but we're not seeing the actuality of. You know, that moment of love that passes between us. We see the evidence of it. We may feel it on some level, but there's no ribbon, or some of us may be able to see it. There's no ribbon, there's no string, there's no cord that we can see that's moving from me to you and you to me and you to each other. And yet there's a connectivity to all of us that is part of our creativity. And when we can see that and feel that, when we can imagine that. So imagine the person who's next to you. How do you want to be connected to them? What would be the evidence for you of being connected? What would you see moving between you and the person beside you as connectivity? Let your imagination play. Let it be something new and unique to you in this moment. So we're practicing here. We're practicing. Do you know that children, NASA did a study a number of years ago, 1,600 subjects in this study. And they did what's called a longitudinal study, which simply means they did it over time. It's a big word for meaning across time. And 4 and 5-year-olds were considered, were given a test to see how they rank in terms of creative genius. And 98% of 4 and 5-year-olds were considered to be creative geniuses. At age 10, 9 to 10, when they were studied yet again and the very same instrument was given to measure creative genius, they were down to 30, only 30%. And at age 15, only 12%. And by the time this same population, the 1,600 people, were adults, the creative genius percentage was only 2. what happens to us? What happens that we forget that we are creative geniuses? And we're creative geniuses because of this. God created the heavens and the earth, and a little bit further down, we were created in the image and the likeness of God. Human beings were created in the image and likeness of God. And so we have that spark of creativity within us, and we're being called to use it every day. But what happens to us as adults sometimes is that we get so worried about what people think of us that we're afraid to bust out and be creative. We get so concerned about, will somebody read my book? Instead of thinking, wow, I am having the best time writing this book. I'm having the best time. On Thursday afternoon, we had a group of people in here for the prayer shawl ministries. And the building was alive with their joy and their creativity. And they were knitting and crocheting, and they were talking about unity, and they were talking about themselves to each other. They were opening their hearts to each other. They were being vulnerable with each other, which brings connection. And so we have to get past that worry about, will you like me? What will you think of me? Am I good enough? If I'm not good enough for me, how can I be good enough for you? We have to get past that and move into that creative process of, you get to think whatever you think about me, and I'm going to be myself. I'm going to wear what I want to wear. I'm going to do the kinds of things that make me happy, that bring me joy. And if I'm going to do it in the sand and get rid of it instantly, it's still creativity. If I'm going to do it through cooking and I'm going to throw it out because, oh my goodness, it was not edible, it is still creativity. And that's the thing for us to learn, is the joy of doing, the joy of being. There's a Hungarian-American psychologist. His name is Csikszentmihalyi. Thank you, Mihai. I mixed it up, didn't I? Anyway, Csikszentmihalyi, thank you. I've been practicing this all week. And that's right, I'm so creative. I changed his name. But he talks about being in the flow, and one of the markers about being in the flow is we lose a sense of time, but we lose a sense of what other people think about us because we're so in the joy of the moment. We're just enjoying doing it. So I'm going to invite you to think about what it is that you enjoy just doing for the sake of doing it. I've taken painting classes. I've taken photography classes. I have taken drawing classes, because that's how I saw creativity. Well, I'm not so good at any of that. Did I have fun? Yes. But I didn't see it as creativity till I started to look at being in that drawing class in an art academy and just drawing, finding that moment where just drawing was like meditating. It was in the flow. That's when I started discovering my own creativity. And then I started to recognize that I'm creative in ways that I didn't see. So I had to move my convergent thinking, my very pointed and focused thinking, and open it up. I'm creative in getting people to talk to me. I'm creative in being an active listener and truly being present in the moment and listening to people. Did you know that excellent and effective communication skills are a form of creativity? We don't think about that in terms of creativity, but that's creativity. Being a chemist is creative. Yes, you're putting chemicals together and creating something else, but just the act of being a chemist, playing chess and being a chess player is a form of creativity. Boy, do I know that one. My brothers beat me all the time. I didn't have, at that time, the same level of strategizing that they had. But I learned how to beat them in other things, in other games, because I had a different type of strategy than they have. So often what we are doing is we are comparing ourselves to other people and deeming ourselves to be less than. But our creativity could be that we compare ourselves to other people because that's human and we're going to do that. And we deem ourselves to be just right. So how many is willing to declare themselves to be, I am just right? Say it with me. I am just right. Yes, and that is a form of creativity because you were created in the image of and the likeness of a creator God. And it's up to us to bring that creativity forward into life. It's up to us to think not only outside the box, but to give the whole box up. Where did we learn the box anyway? We learned that there's a box somewhere. We learn it sometimes with our drawings where we say, hey, isn't this beautiful? And somebody says, oh, that's a really wonderful giraffe. Well, it's not a giraffe. But I see that you might see it as a giraffe, but that's not how I see it. But how beautiful that we can share our differences in that way. And if I'm not attached to the outcome and I'm really interested in the joy of my painting, I'm not going to care whether you saw it as what I believed it to be or you saw it as a giraffe. Because you get to be yourself and have your own perception of the world. And then we can share our perceptions of the world and we can expand our awareness of the world. We can expand our consciousness of the world. We can expand how we see the world. So we're moving from that convergent to divergent thinking, which is really powerful in terms of experiencing joy in the world because of what part of being in the flow of life is to be willing to experience the joy. And if I'm concerned about what you think about me, if I'm concerned about whether or not my painting looks like a photograph, which is why I don't like painting, if I'm not worried about that and I'm just in the joy of the moment, then I'm not going to care what somebody else thinks. I'm going to think, oh, I love doing that. And you know, some of the things that I look at in art museums, I think, wow, I wonder what they were thinking. I wonder, but thank goodness I'm not there unless I'm really curious, like they're not there unless I'm really curious about understanding what they were thinking. So I'm not somehow in my, what is that meant to be? So I'm not putting a damper on somebody else. How often have you been excited about something, really excited, and somebody puts a damper on it by their inability to open up their perception to see the world in the same way you do? Empathy. And we mix empathy and sympathy up all the time. Sympathy is looking at somebody and feeling sorry for them. That's the dictionary definition. The tertiary dictionary definition is compassion. But empathy is opening up and doing our very best to see the world through another person's eyes and still maintaining our perception. And when we can do that, then, as the Gospel of Thomas says, the kingdom of heaven is truly between us. It's within us always. And as we begin to be creative and open up our thinking and be willing to see your experience as yours, but I want to know about it. I want to know what you feel about it. I want to know how that experience has been for you. And at the same time, I'm still really clear of who I am. I don't get hooked into that experience. I can feel with you, but I'm not blurring the boundaries between you and me. That's powerful creativity. That's our inner creativity, is when we see ourselves as both separate and one. That's one of the biggest paradoxes in unity. It's the same thing here. God created the heavens and the earth, all you see and all you don't see. That's the same paradox, is you are me and I am you, and yet we are uniquely different. It's exactly the same paradox. All we see and all we don't see. One of the biggest changes in my life was through Wayne Dyer's "You'll see it when you believe it." Wonderful. I always thought that I would have to see it. You'll believe it. Wait, I got it mixed up now. Creativity, I got it mixed up. When I can truly imagine it, I'm going to form it. I'm going to see it. But if I have to see it before I can believe it, then I'm stuck in convergent thinking. And I grew up that way. Oh, I don't see that. I don't see that, so it must not exist. And so we're learning, we're opening up, we're moving outside that box. We're learning how to let the box go and let the box flow somewhere else. Eric Butterworth says, until we're open to God flowing through us, as us, we're itness, then we're not going to be able to demonstrate all that we desire to demonstrate. We're not going to be able to bring that creativity forward and through us and as us. But so often we get stuck in that we have trouble believing it. We have trouble believing those possibilities with God. All things are possible. Well, it's not possible to me because I have kinked my hose somehow, and I have let go of my inner creativity. Pam Grout says when we don't express ourselves, when we bottle up our anger, our fears, our delights, and we cut ourselves off from life's juices, its joy. We're cutting out that flow of life when we bottle up feelings, but also when we bottle up our thinking, when we bottle up our perceptions, when we bottle up our creativity, when we bottle up our willingness to look at something not only from one side or two sides, but multifaceted sides. Well, I wonder what else could be going on here. I wonder what else is happening here that I'm not aware of. I wonder what else. Say with me, I wonder what else. I wonder what else. What else might I think about this? How else might I solve this? What I perceive as a problem, but that problem soon becomes the stepping board, the springboard for further and future creativity. It's amazing how life works, particularly when we open up and allow it to work, as Principle teaches us that it works. When we're willing to express ourselves. My mentor, Katie Hendricks, used to say, when we cut off one feeling, that we cut off all feelings. And this is exactly what Pam Grout is saying to us here. If I'm not willing to express my anger, if I'm not willing to express my sadness, if I'm not willing to express that I'm scared about something, then I'm also not going to be able to express my joy, my delight, my peace, my harmony. And we have learned sometimes in spiritual community, oh, don't say that, you might hurt somebody's feelings. But we don't have that power. We have the power to be the mirror for the feelings that they're already experiencing that may or may not be conscious to them. We may be the catalyst for somebody. And what a gift that we are. And sometimes it hurts, and sometimes it's scary. And sometimes we think, oh my goodness, I shouldn't have said that. I really messed up here. And what if your mess up is actually the message that opens up something so that a greater level of healing can happen? What if your mess up, as you perceive it, is the message, I don't want you to miss this, that opens up the capacity for greater healing to happen? We have to be willing to allow ourselves to be vulnerable. That's one of the biggest differences between children's creativity and adult creativity, when we move from 98% when we were 4 and 5 years old to 2% now, because we have stopped being vulnerable. We've stopped being willing to make the mistake with somebody's name, to make the mistake with somebody's experiences. We're so afraid that we've dampened our own creativity. But when we're a community that's willing to recognize that all feelings are valid, all voices have value, and that our experiences are ours, My experiences are mine, and yours are yours. And as we open our hearts to share those experiences, not to change the other and not for you to change me, but for us to share. This is how it was, and I'm willing to see this differently. This is what I perceived, and I'm open to a new thought about this. Then we can truly be that light for each other and that sense of belongingness with each other that most of us yearn for. There are some people who don't, but most of us truly yearn for that level of connectivity, that level of belongingness, that levelness that of somebody saying, I see you, I accept you, I love you. And thank you for being you. So if you have not heard that this week, I truly want you to hear, thank you for being you, for being the unique, vibrant, sometimes lonely, sometimes scared, sometimes very mad, sometimes delightful expression of God that you are. So that we're truly living the spectrum of our humanness within our divinity. We're not cutting off a part of ourselves, but we're opening up to and embracing that inner creativity. Creativity begins first in divine mind. Everything comes forth first as a thought. And in divine mind, in God, in Buddha, in Lao Tzu, whatever terminology you use for that transcendence that is not only all around us but within us, which we call the immanent, whatever that term is, as we come and let that fully embrace the humanity of us, and we're expressing both, we're going to be living in our fullness. Usually when we aspire to be more spiritual, we think of things like being kinder, being more understanding. Let me say another prayer. But in order to fulfill our destiny as spiritual beings, we must also become more creative, to be open to the magic, the deep vistas that gush through our souls. Is this something that you're willing to do? Open to the magic of life. Open to the magic of your anger. Open to the creativity that can come forth. Open to the magic of your sadness, the missing of someone in your life, the longing to connect. And then how might you change how you connect with somebody so it's not as it once was, but as it now can be? How can you change how it once was to move into how it now is? And from that place of really holding on to, this is how it is. How can I do this, how it is differently than I've ever done it before? My invitation to you today, if you're willing to take it, is to talk to at least 3 people you've never talked to before. It's a little scary. What if they don't like me? What if I don't know what to say? Well, here's a little trick. If you don't know what to say, get them to talk about themselves. And do true listening. Don't be thinking, oh, what should I say back? But really be present. One of my mentors calls it hollow bone. Be a hollow bone and really listen. What are they saying? What are they feeling? What are they thinking? And if you can't tell, ask a question and have them talk some more. And then, for the person who's doing the talking, make some space for the other person to also talk. Ask them a question. Unless you're an extrovert, if you're an introvert, well, you might have a little difficult time with this. And if we're willing to step outside of our comfort zone, to be creative, what if you had a whole conversation and you didn't use any words and you each took 3 minutes to have the conversation? What if you had the conversation with your knees? And let your knees talk to your partner's knees and see what you get. It's outside the box. There's no box with the knees except that patella that's right there. It's a different way of relating. But we get caught in our habits and we get caught in our grooves. And we get caught in, well, I've always done it this way. How many of you, I'm really going to ask for a show of hands. How many of you have ever heard yourself say that? Well, I've always done it this way. Yeah, like that's it. Never another way. I'm inviting you to another way. But what happens is not only am I inviting you to this way, but because it's powerful creativity and it's a powerful way to be the divine, but the divine is inviting you in the things unseen, inviting you to do something different. And if we don't take that invitation, we will find that invitation showing up somehow, some way in our lives. And I do it too. And I just take it a lot further than most people. I just really take it till I can make myself laugh with how much a victim I can be. Or I take my rage further and I push on palm trees and see if I can knock them down to move that energy, because all we're feeling is a bunch of energy. But when we're willing to take that energy and turn it into a form of creative expression, when we're willing to take the invitation to do something different, and it doesn't even have to be a wild thing, or it can be really wild and we can live from a new sense of, ooh, what can I eat that's totally different? How can I go home in a whole new way? What if I enter the room backwards for the next week and see if anybody says anything to me? Most people will like, oh, she came in backwards. I wonder what that's about. But we don't go and say, hey, how come you're coming in backwards? And then you would give me an opportunity to say, I'm trying on something new. I've run into a few things doing it, but I'm trying something new. I'm repatterning my muscles. I'm learning how to walk in a new way so that I can continue to hold the balance that I have. So my muscles that are not usually used are being used. So I'm keeping myself young and vibrant and alive no matter how old I am. I'm sparking that creativity within me. So the next time I go to a museum and I think, what is that? It really comes out of like, oh, what is that? What is that? Let's learn as a community to allow our inner creativity to flow. And if you're interested, oh wait, I got one more thing. Sorry. Rollo May, he's a British psychiatrist. He said, if you do not express your original ideas, this is big, you guys. If you do not express your original ideas, if you do not listen to your own being, you have betrayed yourself. We don't usually think about it as betrayal. We often call it kindness. We think we're being spiritual. We think we're protecting someone else from our feelings, and we're being nice. But what we're actually doing is betraying ourselves. So the moment we've betrayed ourselves, we've withdrawn from the interaction. We've taken a part of ourselves out of the flow between each other. And when we've taken a part of ourselves out of the flow between each other, that's the prime time to project upon each other our own stuff. I'm going to say that again. When we take ourselves out of the flow, when we take ourselves out of the picture, when we've removed ourselves because we haven't been willing to creatively be ourselves, then we're going to project on each other. Because I'm going to take that part of myself that I have removed and I'm going to make it about you. I'm going to say it was them. Oh, well, if she had done it different. If the message had come differently. If she had only said that in a way that I could hear it. You know, who's in charge then? Me or that other person? The other person. This is what we do when we give our creativity up. We give our power away. And truly, we are that one presence and one power that's active in our own lives. It's in the universe, too. It will always be there. but it's active in our lives. And this is where we have the free will to choose it or not. Are you willing to choose it? And that doesn't mean you go around hurting people's feelings. And that's the fear that comes up. Oh, if I say what I'm thinking, I'm going to hurt somebody's feelings. Well, that's because we mostly talk from, you did this, rather than I noticed I was feeling. Would you like to hear what I've been feeling? I would like to share it with you if you would like to hear it. And then I have to honor the yes or no that comes back to me. If somebody says no, I can say, okay, thank you. I'll go share it with someone else. But thank you for giving me the opportunity to ask you. And if we're willing to say yes or no and own those yes or no's, then we've actually created more love in the world. We don't always see it that way, but we've created more love in the world. And then when we share, I feel sad about, I feel angry about, I feel scared about, I feel joyful about, I feel delighted about, I feel hopeful about. We're creating more love in the world. But notice each of those statements begin with I. And most of us have been taught that that's selfish. So I'm inviting you to live self-fully as a divine being, to share with another full, whole divine being who you really are. And let's celebrate that. Imagine for a moment what this world would look like. Imagine for a moment what it would feel like to walk in this room and know love. You still are going to have boundaries because love has a spine. We're going to practice intelligent love. But what if every time you opened your mouth to share, you knew that your voice was valuable and we made space to listen to it? How differently would you feel? And then we can learn how to do that in here. And then we can take that out to other places. So that when we're in the grocery store and somebody stops us, and maybe it's just me, but somebody always stops me to talk to me, I think it's kind of amusing, and I also think it's really touching. That voice of that person I've never met before in the frozen food section has value to me. That momentary interaction has value to me. We do not know how we might have changed their day. But what I do know, beyond a shadow of a doubt, is I have opened my heart. And the moment I open my heart, I have changed my day. I have not only changed my day, but I have changed my DNA. I've changed my day because it's going to be different, but I've changed my physical DNA by listening, by being present, by being the presence of God in that moment. If you're willing, here we go. I see myself as a creator. I am open to new experiences. I'm willing to do more of what brings me joy. If this is of interest to you, let's say it. If it's not, I'm going to invite you not to say it if it doesn't interest you, because otherwise you're going to open up an energy portal that you might not want to go down. But if you really want this, if this is who you are and this is resonant for you, let's say it together. I see myself as a creator and I'm open to new experiences. I'm willing to do more of what brings me joy. Let's say that last one again. I am willing to do more of what brings me joy. And then imagine, use your imagination about the radiant joy that you will be trailing and radiating. Think about a star, a comet that leaves a light. You will be trailing that, radiating that everywhere you go. What a difference you will make in this world. We're going to sing our way into meditation. It's a beautiful song about opening. Let yourself feel it as we sing it. More
I am opening my heart is ready to receive. I am opening. I am opening. My heart is ready to receive. I am opening. I am opening. My heart is ready to receive.
Prepared our hearts to move into a time of meditation. We are opening. We are opening up to receiving all the good that is available to us in the universe. We're opening to allowing God to do for us all that we can open up to allow to move through us, to demonstrate at our level of consciousness, and then to stand in the discomfort of opening even further so that we have the ability to receive more of whatever it is that you would like to receive. And that's unique and individual to you, and it's perfect for you. Opening, breathing, receiving, connecting, allowing our natural creativity to pour forth through us as we practice. Allowing. I'm open to allow the good to come through me. I'm open to allowing things to be different than they are. I'm open to keeping up with the changes that the universe is making. I'm open to catching myself when I say, oh, I've always done it this way. And move into a wonder of how might I do it differently, and what might I experience when I do it differently. To be my own inventor, creator, scientist of life. To be willing to do things differently and create what some people will see as a mistake, but it leads me to a new level of information. It helps me in my power of discernment, to stand in my power. It helps me begin to formulate my faith, the perceiving power of the mind, paired with my imagination, my ability to see something novel and new, to know that I'm opening, expanding, clarifying. I'm willing to be the creative genius that I am. Step by step and bit by bit, I am willing. And I move from willingness to commitment. We take these thoughts, these words, these ideas into the sacred and holy silence. before you totally come back into this room, listen to each note that's being played by Chunya. Listen to the note and let it become something in your imagination. An object, animate or inanimate. Let it transform for a moment, and then let it change again. We're practicing here the power of faith and imagination, which leads to creativity. And then let's begin to listen to the space between the notes. This is how we extend our ability to meditate. We listen to the space between our thoughts. Find the space and let it become a color, an energy. It might be a shape. Using our imagination in meditation. Finding something new within us. And allowing it to come forth as us. And then gently and easily begin to come back into this room and feel yourself sitting in the chair that you were in. The chair is supporting you just as the energy of the universe supports us in our thoughts and our feelings. And as the lights come up, bring back with you that feeling. If it's an uncomfortable feeling, let it magnify. If it was a delightful feeling, let it magnify. Whatever it was, let it magnify and expand and flow within this room. To this time, this place, knowing that you have engaged in this moment in your inner creativity. So you have not only changed yourself, but you have become an invitation for everyone who's in this room to experience your creativity too. What a beautiful gift you have given this morning.
I don't know about y'all, but I think I may have floated up out of my chair during that meditation. Quick story time about creativity. I was in an art class when I was 18 in college. I thought I was the next Jackson Pollock. Turns out I wasn't. We had to do all these projects that had these rules and etc. And then our final project, we just had to make good use of negative and positive space, whatever that means. Turns out I'm not an artist. I didn't think I was artistic, so I went to the craft store. I got literal finger paints, piece of poster board, and I thought, well, gonna fail the class anyway, so why not? I did a finger painting for my final project in an art class in college. I got an A+. So I encourage you all, even if you think you're not artists, you're not creative, just do something, play, have a good time. Anyway, that being said, we are abundantly blessed here at Unity of Mesa, and we have many ways to give and support our spiritual community. We have text to give, which is what I do. I set it up. It does it every week. You can pick your date. It's great. It's easy. Don't even think about it. We can give online at unityofmesa.org. We can use our Vanco app. You can slap a check in the mail. You can give in person right now in these baskets we're going to pass around. I believe, that's the unit. That's okay. Never mind. Just kidding. Hi. And also in our board meeting, we were talking about how we did, remember when some of you will remember when we danced up the aisle and poured our little cups of change into the bucket and whatnot? So I have a Ziploc bag of coins here, mostly pennies. Money's tight right now. Inflation is big. Food is expensive. We're all going through it. So even if you think you don't have anything to give, this is my offering today. So I encourage you, that coffee cup you have sitting in the kitchen or that dish you throw your pocket change into, that's enough. That's enough. Yeah. So anyway, and we're going to bless it. Take your gifts in your hands and your hearts and repeat and say it with me. Divine love flowing through me blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. And so it is. We're thankful for the gifts, and we're most thankful for the givers.
This is the moment. This is the day when I send all my doubts and demons on their way. Every endeavor I have made ever is coming into play, is here and now today. This is the moment, this is the time when the momentum and the moment are in rhyme. Give me the moment, this precious chance. I'll gather up my past and make some sense at last. This is the moment when all I've done, all of the dreaming, scheming, and screaming become one. This is the day. See it sparkle and shine when all I've lived for becomes mine. For all these years I faced the world alone, and now the time has come to prove to them I made it on my own. This is the moment, my final test. Destiny beckoned, I never reckoned second best. I won't look down, I must not fall. This is the moment, the sweetest moment of them all. This is the moment, damn all the odds. This is never, I'll sit forever with the gods. When I look back, I will always recall, moment for moment, this was the moment, the greatest moment after all.
And as the ushers come forward to collectively, we give thanks for the spiritual community, for these moments of moving experiences, for these amazing and powerful invitations. And together, yeah, put that change in there, Tara. I told her I will personally count it. But we're going to bless our offering and all of these incredible gifts that are circulating in and through Unity of Mesa. We say together,
We are one with the opulence of God. We are now in the flow of infinite abundance, and we give thanks for the prosperity that is ours by divine right. Thank you for your presence here. We have hospitality inside because to me it is cold out there. I don't know what you guys feel, but it is cold out there. We have chaplains. Would you please stand up?
Here are these chaplains willing and available to pray with you today.
And they are excited to pray with you today, which is a joy. Thank you. Let's bless the chaplains today. Chaplains, we love you. We bless you. We appreciate you. And we behold the Christ you are. So give them your best because now they're all charged up. Have the absolute best week that you can have.